So I hope you guys are having a great time, having good food, getting drunk. That is the best way to take advantage of the hospitality here. The first time I was at a DNA event was hosted by Brock and Scott, I think. It was in Vegas. It was 10 years ago. And we were having a dinner. They rented out, I think it was a Nobu. We were sitting at long tables and everyone had to go around and say their name. And that actually made sense because there weren't 150 people. Crypto has grown a lot since then. But I think it's grown in a weird way. And the weirdest year in crypto is probably 2024. There's some deep mysteries going on. And if you want to understand the mysteries of the universe, and if you want deep truths, the place you go is taxi drivers. Today I was stuck in a traffic jam, and so I had a lot of time to talk to my taxi driver, and the taxi driver was telling me that he'd been driving around a lot of people like us, like crypto people, and he said that he was very surprised about how I was talking about everything, because I sounded optimistic, and every other crypto person that he had in his taxi sounded depressed. And it's been a very, very weird year. Everyone you talk to, it's like, when's alt season? Why are the only tokens that are pumping meme coins? I'm trying to build something. I don't know how to do a meme coin. Why is the only L1 that has, a line of 2,500 people queuing outside of it comes from a meme coin? Chain, right? We've got all of these VC-backed projects which have taken in hundreds of millions of dollars, and they seem to be going nowhere. And the question that I'd like to ask you guys today and try to give my answer to is, what the hell is going on? Why? And I think all of these things, from the taxi driver to the meme coins to the lack of alt season and many other things beyond, are connected to one very, very deep mistake that we've made in the crypto ecosystem, that we've made as builders, as investors, as shitcoin pumpers and dumpers. And the mistake that we've made is that we think we're building software. So going back to that first dinner that I had with, probably it was the first DNA dinner ever. This was just after, for the first time ever, a smart contract layer had been released into the world. And where did that happen? It happened on Bitcoin. There was a period, a magical period between 2011 and 2014, where everything that we're still working on today, ZK proofs, roll-ups, sidechains, proof of stake, ordinals and NFTs, all of those ideas were invented on Bitcoin Talk at that time. It was just this, it was like Athens 3,000 years ago. It was the source of all intelligence and creativity. It was a very magical time. And it was magical because Bitcoin doesn't look anything like that today. Bitcoin is not today the place that you go for adventure, excitement, and a sense of innovation. Bitcoin is where you go to meet the crypto boomers. But at that time, the very first smart contract system launched on Bitcoin, and it, in almost every single way, was a complete failure, except in one way. The most profitable, most successful product to ever be created in the entire crypto ecosystem was created on that protocol. It was called Mastercoin. Does anyone know what that successful product was?
Stablecoin.
It was Tether, right? This company that's got like 2 employees and a dog and makes $20 billion a year in free cash flow. That was created as like the first smart contract token on Bitcoin. But it was very, very clear that except for that one use case, Bitcoin could not cut it as a smart contract system. And so there were 2 big attempts. There was Mastercoin and Colored Coins. Vitalik worked on both of them, and eventually Vitalik gave up and he left to create Ethereum. Now Ethereum went in a completely different direction from Bitcoin. Ethereum, instead of being primarily focused on being reliable and unchanging, was focused on innovation, excitement, adventure, and always changing. Ethereum introduced into the world of crypto this idea of move fast and break things. And the first thing they did was break the chain, right? The first DAO, 300 million, biggest hack ever. They had to fork the entire chain. That was the first thing they did. They were like, okay, we're gonna plant our flag here on move fast and break things. And it was that break that I think is the source of the trouble that we're having right now. Because with what we're building in the crypto space is we're building a system for managing assets, for managing finance, for managing value, for managing people's financial sovereignty and the financial sovereignty of institutions. So, for those of you who have just joined us, I was talking about a major split that happened in the world of crypto between Bitcoin, focused on being permaware, unchanging and reliable, and what happened with Ethereum is we created for the first time the philosophy of software was brought into the crypto space. So what is software? Software is something that is changing all the time. It needs to be upgraded every 6 months. It has breaking changes. Sometimes, like Solana, just goes completely down. And it's where you can operate on this principle of move fast and break things. The problem with software is that it is a very bad fit for the primary purpose of a blockchain, which is to be the home for assets and the way in which we manage those assets. And the reason is this. Yesterday I walked into one of the side events and I happened to be with a woman. Sometimes that happens to me. And as we walked in, she said, "Oh wow, this smells like a crypto conference." And that's because the truth is, it was a room, 500 people, 20 and 30 years old, hyped up on last night's alcohol and today's Red Bull, and you can smell it. And we have this industry that right now is building for itself for 20 and 30-year-old people who have very, very low time preferences. They are gamblers, they're degens, and they think everyone else is like they talk about mass adoption as like how do we get more people onto DEXs? How do we get more people buying Ponzi's and meme coins? But the reality is that this is all happening in Singapore, which is one of those few cities which represents what true wealth is. 95% of the wealth is not in the casino. 95% of the wealth for most people is in pensions, long-term savings, mortgages that last 30, 35 years, inheritance that they're going to give their kids. Massive wealth for institutions is in 30-year and 10-year bonds. M&A projects that are going to pay themselves out over many, many years. Large-scale infrastructure projects that are going to have a payout period of 50 years. The truth is that real money, real wealth, and real finance has a very long time horizon. And it can't be built on software. Nobody is going to take a mortgage, create a real-world assets token, tokenize it, and put it on Solana or on Ethereum. Because the mortgage is going to last 35 years. The house is going to last 250 years, and Ethereum could be gone tomorrow. If you go onto Twitter, everyone's convinced it's already gone. So the only way that we can get out of this tiny little niche that we've built for ourselves is to marry this idea of having the full functionality of being able to manage, manipulate, and program assets, but being able to do so on a system which we know is going to be around for generations. In other words, we need to go back full circle to where we were in 2013 with the launch of the very first smart contract platform, which was being built on the only piece of firmware that we have, which is Bitcoin, and we need to complete that mission. So, what's exciting is that I think that we are at a moment where we are about to complete that full cycle. And the reason is that there are people like me who, for that entire period, 10 years, have not given up on the idea that we can build a truly reliable system which remains the same, is simple, can be understood by all developers, and doesn't act like software, but acts like firmware. And so for 10 years, we've been working towards being able to bring the full breadth of programmability, of scalability, of data protection, privacy, DAOs, DeFi, everything, you name it, to Bitcoin. And then in January of this year, 2024, the weird year, we had a breakthrough. For the first time ever, we were able to demonstrate the ability to write a fully Turing-complete smart contract. In fact, any fully Turing-complete smart contract using Bitcoin script in the form of TapScript. But we had a problem. All of the contracts were too big to fit into a Bitcoin transaction or into a Bitcoin block. And so what we did is we found a way to take those smart contracts, condense them down using a ZK proof into something that could fit into a Bitcoin block. In fact, could fit into a regular Bitcoin transaction. And then the big challenge became, can we actually verify ZK on Bitcoin? In April of this year, we published a paper showing how we theoretically could accomplish it. And then because there's really smart people working on this project, just 2 months later, at Nashville, at the Bitcoin conference, for the first time ever, a true full smart contract was written onto Bitcoin. We managed on Bitcoin mainnet, not testnet, on Bitcoin mainnet, as it is today, we were able to create a UTXO that had no owner. It was controlled by a smart contract. It was able to verify a ZK proof. It was able to create a new ordinal, which had no owner, but was able to pick an owner programmatically. And we were able to send funds both in and out, so that there, for the first time ever, was Bitcoin that for a moment, for a few blocks, was owned by no one except the smart contract. In block 853626, Bitcoin for the first time became a truly programmable system. And that is why we came up with this idea of giving it a name, BitcoinOS, right? Something really simple, which would explain basically what would be written on the tin would be what is in the tin. We now have the ability and are rolling out, the first parts of it are already on mainnet, the ability to perform with BitcoinOS any type of computation. In fact, going even further, the ability to compile any VM, Ethereum's EVM, Solana's SVM, Cosmos's CosmWasm. We can now compile that down and make it readable and verifiable by Bitcoin, and able to manipulate not just Bitcoin, but programmable assets built on the Bitcoin network. And since we made that announcement in Nashville 6 weeks ago, things have gone kind of crazy. A few L1s have reached out to us to try and figure out if they can actually integrate and sort of become rollups to Bitcoin. A large number of rollups, there are now over 100 projects working on trying to actually become rollups to Bitcoin. Some of them already have hundreds of millions of dollars in assets. There are projects and other teams who are working on building true programmable assets, both ordinals like NFTs and just regular token standards for Bitcoin. And there are teams who are working on building privacy built in natively into Bitcoin. So we no longer need a Tornado Cash. We no longer need a Zcash. We no longer need a Samurai or Wasabi wallets. We can, with actual Bitcoin transactions, achieve ZK cryptography standard privacy. And so it's true that not everyone is aware of this yet, but I think for you guys in the room, it's probably apparent how profound a change this is. Crypto has diverged over the last 10 years in two directions. Bitcoin, an asset that everyone trusts, and many people create shitcoins that they can sell so they can get more of. And crypto, move fast, innovative, break things, but also innovate. And we're now coming full circle after those 10 years to a place where we can bring permaware and functionality, permaware and scalability, permaware and throughput, permaware and privacy together for the first time ever. And so when we say everyone, all of us, me, you, all of us here are early to Bitcoin again, are new to Bitcoin again, we mean it. Crazy things are about to happen, and I think it's going to open up avenues for us to finally start truly accomplishing the true potential of having a decentralized, cryptographic, trustless, unchanging, and fully reliable for generations system that we can all use to manage and control the finances that we hold so dear and care about so much for our society and our children and our families. So that's what BitcoinOS is. It's the merging of Bitcoin with functionality, and it's here. Happy to take any questions.